On the evening of July 24th, 2023, two Rock Island police officers pull up to a small house on 20 and a half Avenue following a deeply unsettling call they received earlier that day.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what to do.
Okay, what's going on that you need, help with?
There could possibly be a child that is deceased.
The caller explains that something horrific might have happened inside Sushi's home, where her 9-year-old son Zion hasn't been seen in nearly 8 months. As officers step inside, the stench they're greeted with is as unwelcoming as the host. They begin to hunt for any trace of the missing boy, pressing Sushi for more information on her son's whereabouts. Zion Staples doesn't exist. As police delve deeper into the home, they're about to unearth the brutal truth behind Zion's disappearance, slowly piecing together a web of lies that ends in a reality more tragic than this deluded mother is prepared to believe.
Do you have a son named Zion?
No, I don't.
You've never had a son named Zion?
No.
We need to get this figured out. Stop
lying.
This. It's over.
Hi.
Are you Miss Staples?
Yes, how can I help you?
Sushi Staples, a local hospital worker who claims to work 2 jobs to provide for her and her 4 daughters. But the reason for the officer's visit that night is to find out the truth about Laterica's distress call. But as they'll soon find out, Sushi isn't about to make things easy for them.
So we got kind of a weird phone call. Do you know Latricia?
No.
No.
I don't know anybody out here.
Some lady called DCFS. And,
What?
And kind of made some claims that you had a child that accidentally shot themselves.
Absolutely not.
No, it sounds crazy to me too. That's what.
I am so sorry.
She denies everything, telling officers the call must have been made by a stalker she claims has been harassing her non-stop. But police are armed with more information, informing Sushi of the second, even more disturbing allegations being made against her, as well as enabling the tragic accident that killed her son. Sushi is accused of covering up the death, allowing the consequences of her negligence to quietly decompose in the basement. Officers press forward, asking to search the basement so they can clear up the allegations being made. But Sushi is not about to let that happen.
Check the box off. Can I look in your basement real quick and I'll get out of here?
No, you need a search warrant to do that. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not about to have my rights violated because someone makes Uranus allegations like this.
I know. Like I said, it sounded crazy to me too. I'm just up here seeing if, we have to investigate it, no matter how crazy it sounds. If you want to do that, I would suggest you go through the proper protocols. I'm not about to let some crazy woman who has my husband make Uranus accusations like this and have my rights violated as a citizen. I get it. That's what
That is not okay. I have 4 girls in here.
That's what I'm just asking. I'm not
4 children.
I'm not trying to blame anything on you. I'm not saying this is true. I was just asking. Okay.
This is nuts.
That's all it is. Okay.
The officers have no choice but to comply. They explain once again that they're simply following protocol before slipping empty-handed into the night. This isn't the last they'll see of Sushi Staples. At 6 p.m. the following day, officers are back at Sushi's house, ready to put their plan into action. Once again, Sushi is not happy to see them, attempting to keep them out of the house until they provide her with the relevant documents. But this time, they've come prepared. Over the course of the previous night, officers have been busy devising a plan. Led by Detective Shepard, they first obtain a search warrant for the house, before gathering as much information as they can on Sushi Staples and her family. They're determined not to go home empty-handed once more. Officers enter the home, seizing Sushi's phone, and proceed to conduct a search they were denied the previous night.
You would have to. It's not like fresh welds or nothing.
No.
You have to unhook all this to spit it out.
They make their way to the basement, looking for any sign of the missing child, but the results are far from what they expected.
Okay.
It quickly becomes clear the space is empty. Laterica's call has got it wrong. The question now is whether the rest of her story is incorrect too, and this, as it turns out, will send officers on a goose chase which generates more lies than truth. Upstairs, Detective Shepard sits down with Sushi to put her through questioning. Despite the setback, he has a plan. He and his team have spent the night devising a two-pronged attack designed to catch Sushi in her web of lies. Now, Detective Shepard is about to put it into effect.
Alright, before I talk to you, okay, since we're here for a search warrant, okay, I'm going to advise you of your rights and then we can talk, okay? Alright, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer at this time and have him present for questioning. The reason we're here, okay, is because we're investigating a call that we had, okay? The officers came out and talked to you last night, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We have to handle that real seriously, okay? Because the allegations are that you have a son and that he's deceased and he's here in this house.
Shepard then proceeds to lay the trap that will seal Sushi's fate once and for all.
Do you have a son named Zion?
No, I don't.
You've never had a son named Zion?
No.
Unfortunately for Sushi, officers have done their research.
Have you had any interactions with DCFS up in Chicago?
I did.
Okay.
False calls that were made.
Okay.
Correct.
One of the calls from 2021, DCFS came out to your residence in Chicago and there was a Zion Staples there. Along with your 4 daughters.
But this apparent solution only creates a bigger problem for the officers. Though they presented Sushi with seemingly irrefutable proof, it will all be useless if she refuses to accept what's right in front of her.
I just recently went through a situation where a young lady stole my identity and she falsely filed my taxes and my informations and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I've been working with the FBI. I've been working with the IRS. There's been a lot of things popping up, and
over the next few minutes, Sushi begins to weave a web of deceit, citing identity theft, stalking, fraudulent calls, anything she can to downplay the fact that Zion seems to be real. Through it all, she makes sure officers know one thing for certain: Zion Staples is not her child.
Okay, are we going to find anything in your house that has Zion's name on it? Birth certificate, social security card, or anything like that?
Nope.
Now, the task is simple. If they can find proof that Zion is a real boy, they will catch Sushi in a lie and blow the case wide open. They spread throughout the house, looking from top to bottom for anything undeniable they can use as proof. But it's here that Sushi's testimony takes a more disturbing turn. She describes her traumatic experience of being abused while growing up in the state care system, explaining to officers that she was assaulted at the age of 14 and went on to have her first baby before the age of 15. She tearfully tells officers that she's terrified her kids will be taken away from her and put through exactly the same horrors she experienced in the care system. She repeatedly tries to call a lawyer and have family come and pick up her kids, but detectives stall, knowing a simple admission from Sushi will change the entire trajectory of this case. The question is, where will it come from? Meanwhile, officers on the other side of the house are continuing their search. Without much luck, they sweep from room to room, finding nothing but tax documents and personal belongings. It seems once again that the visit might be fizzling out, but little do they know, they're about to find the first in a chain of shocking discoveries that leads them down a horrifying rabbit hole towards the truth.
I'm telling you, it's coming from a whole group of people, okay? They know I can show you my phone.
You got what? Social security card for Zion? Where?
Right there is a social security card. I just started going through it, but everything's going to be in here.
Not only have officers found a social security card for Zion, but they've also found his birth certificate.
Birth certificate?
What is that?
Birth certificate.
For Zion Staples.
Zion Staples.
That's not mine.
Sushi Staples. Child, it's found in your room.
We need to get this figured out. Stop
lying.
It's over.
Where's that kid? You need to come clean because we're not going anywhere. This is just, you're just going to dig yourself a bigger grave now. I asked you if there's anything with Zion's name in this house. You said no. So let's start all over, okay? Who is Zion?
Around 45 minutes into the interview, detectives step away for a moment to talk with one another. When they return, Sushi's demeanor has changed. She seems quieter, more resigned. The birth certificate seems to have had a deep effect. Then finally, she begins to talk.
But we need to know the truth about Zion. What's the deal with that?
I needed some extra help. Okay, that was it.
What do you mean by that?
I had a person that makes documents. And it was just really hard. Like,
So is Zion a real person?
no.
Finally, Sushi's denial falters. She admits to officers that Zion is just a creation designed to defraud the benefit system, telling them of the document makers she had back in Chicago who produced birth certificates, social security numbers, and IDs, all to create a fake child who never existed. As for the Zion Staples that DCFS came across at Sushi's house, he was just another local child who Sushi had pulled in to play the role of her fake son. The question now is whether police choose to believe the story or not. On the surface, it seems plausible. Detectives have already agreed this kind of fraud happens all too often. But there's just one problem. What officers have discovered while Sushi's been making her confession changes everything.
Yes. Send thee help from the sanctuary and strengthen thee out of Zion.
They've just discovered an open Bible on Sushi's countertop containing a verse with Zion's name underlined. This elevates things. Sushi's story about Zion being a fictional character seems more and more unlikely.
Listen, I think this goes a lot deeper than a fraud issue. You've got passages out there in the Bible that are underlying that. I think this goes a little deeper than a fraud issue.
It's passages in the Bible. It's a Bible.
That mentions Zion, and it's underlined. If
It's,
Zion was just a money-making scheme and just a fictitious thing, we wouldn't be worried about
but my
that.
religion has nothing to do with the allegations. I keep that Bible
But I can
verse
tell
open
in your emotion that there's something more here than a fraud issue.
You've been through the system, and you're not going to be bawling and crying like that
for over some theft issue.
over a identity
that's a theft.
crap.
There's something more here, and we need to get that uncovered. And that's why we're saying, if you're not going to provide it, we are going to talk to the kids too. We need to know what's going on here with this.
What?
As officers reveal to her that her kids are going to be taken in for questioning, Sushi's worst fears begin to be realized.
We're going to look for birth
What, are they
certificates.
taking my kids out of here? They're taking my kids?
Hey, you told us you would talk to us.
No, I didn't tell you that.
You told us that you would tell us what was going on here.
What you, no, what's going on?
She's trying to take us.
Hang on.
What? Wait. What? Why are you trying to take my kids out of here?
The simple fact is, Sushi's story just doesn't add up. Even if the birth certificate could be explained by the benefit fraud she committed back in Chicago, it doesn't explain the Bible that lies open on her table with her son's name underlined on the page. Officers sense the game is up, and so does Sushi. As her lies begin to unravel, she tries to backtrack on her story.
Because now you all are railroading us.
Railroading anybody. We're trying to figure out what is
You're
going
trying
on.
to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
And I just told you. And you're taking my kids out of my home, something you said you was not going to do.
They're going to a house to be interviewed.
You're taking
He
them
told you we
away
were going
from me.
to. We're not taking them anywhere. We're taking them to go get
Can I
interviewed.
call a lawyer, please?
Officers decide they have heard as much as they need, so they put Sushi in cuffs and take her down to the station.
God, this is embarrassing.
As of yet, Laterica's call hasn't yielded many results. Sure, Sushi has been arrested, and officers suspect foul play, but they have no tangible evidence of the allegations Laterica was making. However, while Sushi travels to the station to be booked, officers remain at the scene to continue the search they started. Their instincts tell them an empty basement does not mean an empty house. But as the hours pass with no discoveries being made, it It seems the case might be slipping through their fingers once more. Only one place remains that hasn't been searched: the garage. After 8 months of silence, the horrifying truth is about to be exposed. In a gray trash can in the corner of the garage, officers notice a disgusting smell wafting through the air. They're immediately on red alert. One officer pulls the trash can carefully into the center of the room, preparing himself for what he thinks comes next. Slowly, he lifts the lid before shutting it once more and turning to his colleague. He has seen enough. Inside the can are the decaying remains of Zion Staples, left discarded and rotting in the corner since last December. The other officer checks inside to verify, then he too turns away for some fresh air. Across Rock Island, officers at the station are informed of the discovery. The stakes have just been raised. They scramble to put the next steps in motion. The worst nightmare Detective Shepard and all his colleagues that day has just been realized. The cops now have an undeniable case against Sushi Staples. Not only has she concealed the death of her son Zion, allowing the remains to rot in her garage, but she has also created an entirely fictitious story to try to mislead investigating officers. This very likely would be enough to prove guilt by itself, but officers still aren't satisfied. 2 days later, on the 28th of July, 2023, Detective Shepard takes officers to an apartment in Chicago to interview Zion's stepfather, Letez. They believe he might have some information that will shed light on the horrific events that have passed.
We need to talk to Letez.
That's what they get.
You know where he's at?
No, we don't. 233. Inside the vehicle with
His dad?
Stepfather. What's your name, sir?
Lester.
Lester?
Only Letez's stepfather is home, meaning officers will have to find him elsewhere. They eventually catch up to him nearly a week later, at a parking lot somewhere in Chicago.
Alright, so like I said, man, this whole situation is, she's in jail, okay. Alright? And we have to take what you say and your involvement in the aftermath of this, and then go to the state's attorney's office and see what they want.
Having briefly explained the situation, officers waste no time, immediately asking what Letez knows about the death of his son.
I get a call from the police. They say, did Zion just shot himself. What the fuck y'all mean? Zion just shot himself. What the fuck y'all mom at? She at work. So I'm like, did y'all talk to y'all mom? Like, you ain't call the police? See, no. I just need a little bit more time with my son. He just died before Christmas. I'm simply telling you. You gotta call this in. You gotta report this to these people. See, I just need more time. So I said, okay.
Letez explains that despite the pressure he put on Sushi to report Zion's death to the police, she was inconsolable.
At this point, I'm like, Sue, you still finna have to turn this in. You feel me? Regardless of what however it happened, you still gonna have to turn it in. See, I don't wanna lose my kids. I've been going through so much with DCFS, all this. I got the kids. I can take care of the kids.
That night, Letez returned to the house and Sushi began to put her plan in action.
So we go to sleep. We wake up in the morning. They say, I'm gonna need you to go get me some cleaning stuff. So I go get the cleaning shit. Where'd she go to? I think I went to Family Dollar. I went to go get the cleaning shit. I come back. She say, I'm gonna need you to take my kids. You're gonna have to take my kids with you. And I told her, I can do that. I'll take the kids. And that's when I left. I left with the kids, told them to pack their and we left.
Letez claims he took care of the kids for 3 months, during which time Sushi sent him a photo of an urn and a court image, leading him to believe she had handled Zion's death with authorities. But soon enough, he reveals to officers that his relationship with Sushi has not always been smooth.
So I'm like, yeah, I was talking to another female. You feel me? Because you might be gone for a little bit. I'm finna take care of these kids. I need another woman to take care of your responsibilities and take care of my business because I can't breathe. So, of course, I'm gonna do that. You feel me? So, now she going through my phone. Now I'm mad. Now I'm like, man, you tweaking, bro. You tweaking. I'm helping you. I'm helping you with the kids. Your ass took my bread, and then when she left, she got in the car. She got in the car, drove off. She called my phone. She say, "Check your cash out." I check my cash out. My $0. You feel me? I've been sending her money. I've been sending her money for a long ass time, like a lot, hella bread.
What's more, turns out that Sushi's story of an ex-husband aren't entirely true. She and Letez are still married, and he's shocked to hear she has another husband who's currently in prison. But Letez's most concerning claims are all yet to come. He claims that Sushi didn't leave Zion's side for 2 whole days after his death, even going so far as to sleep beside his dead body. He also recounts a past event where Sushi shot him after he cheated on her, after which he covered for her so she didn't have to lose custody of the children. However, Letez claims to have no idea at all of the most graphic possibility put to him by police.
Here's the thing. I think we need to ask you point blank. There's an issue with this child possibly being burnt some.
Say what?
Being burnt.
Being burnt?
Yeah, the body.
I don't know nothing about that. Nothing at all.
Do you know anything with her or with you or anybody trying to, like, in disposal of this body, setting him on fire?
No, I don't know.
We have to ask that.
No, I don't. Seriously, I do not know.
Said she texted you the picture of like a turd and that she got
like she went to a cremation store to get cremated, and then she sent me the text like she's in court, like she went to court for it or something. You feel me? So I'm like, okay, fine. She took care of it. She took care of it. She went to go get them really cremated, and she sent me a picture like she's in court, like she really went to court for the.
Following this shocking revelation, officers bring the interview to a close with Letez cooperating fully, agreeing to undergo DNA sampling, and handing over his phone for investigation. But this isn't the end of Letez's involvement. A later phone call with police revealed a more sinister possibility he hadn't mentioned at first. On the call, he explains that when he first received a call from his children telling him Zion was dead, he immediately asked them why the gun was out in the first place. The girls explained that they had been playing with the gun, leading Letez to ponder a gruesome possibility. Maybe one of the girls had shot Zion. For police, however, the task remains proving that Sushi had covered up her son's death. Next on their list is a stop at Lowe's to investigate this case's smoking gun, the metal trash can. The following day, an officer pulls up to a Lowe's store where he believes Sushi Staples purchased the metal trash can in which Zion's body was found. If investigators can prove she purchased it after his death, it will make things far easier when it comes time to prosecute.
A question, how long do you guys keep your online orders, like in the computer system?
Depends.
Okay. I'm looking like late December of last year.
Did you need a particular receipt?
I have a name, and I know that it was in 22, but the barcode on the sticker, it says Pickup Moline.
Okay. Do you have an order number?
I don't. That sticker isn't in the best condition anymore.
Okay.
But I don't know if you guys can search it by name.
I can try.
The first phone number they tried doesn't work, but then...
Can you print that by chance?
Technically I cannot, because it has to go through my LP.
Okay. So who do I contact? Like I said, I know I got the right stuff here.
Records show a transaction on Sushi's account from December 2022, right around the time of Zion's death. The product purchased is a metal trash can. A perfect match. 10 days later, officers speak once again with the very first witness to expose Sushi's crimes. Laterica Wilson agrees to be interviewed over FaceTime, and what she tells them is almost enough to seal her former friend's sentence.
Hi, Laterica.
Yes.
All right, could you state your name?
My name is Laterica Wilson.
And your date of birth?
Do you need a copy? You need to see my ID?
Sure, if you got one right there.
I did bring my wallet in because I didn't know how this was going to work.
Good call.
As it turns out, Sushi has completely confided in Laterica, confessing everything about her wrongdoing.
On January of 2023, the first week of January. I believe it was around the 3rd of January. It was between the 3rd or the 8th. I received a phone call from Sushi. And the phone call at first was just like a regular phone call, like how you been doing and stuff like that. And then I heard her like crying a little bit. And I asked her, I said, what's wrong? And she just stated to me that Christmas will never be the same again. She then stated to me, I said, why, what happened? And she was like hesitant to bring it out and tell me. She then told me that her son she was gone from the house, and she told me that her son had shot himself.
And who do you know her son as?
Zion.
Okay.
She stated that he shot himself. At the time, he was 9 years old. So our phone calls went from every other day to every day. And then I started asking questions about, did they release his body? Was she going to do a funeral or anything? Did she notify any family members? And then I started thinking, I'm like, you didn't have to speak to DCFS. Like, they didn't question the situation, anything like that. Like, she was like, no, they know it was an accident. I'm just waiting on them to release the body so that I can just have a proper burial for my child. And weeks went past. I asked her again about it. Then she started busting out in tears. And then she told me she never turned it in. She feared that they would take her kids away, and she was scared to lose everything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she said she still had them there. She told me she purchased a burning barrel from Home Depot or something like that you burn leaves and stuff in, and she stored them in that. I'm like, what? And she said, yeah, he was stored in that in her basement. She said she tried to set him on fire. When she set him on fire, it caused a lot of smoke in the house. So they put it out. And she said she called husband, what used to be husband, Tez, from his job to come to the house.
According to Laterica, this is when Sushi called her husband, Latez, to come to the house for help, just like he told police. He arrived, cleaned the house, and took the kids for a few months. After Laterica's report, it seems DCFS paid a visit to Sushi's house. When they arrived, just like with police, she denied having a son, and they left without taking any action. But the trouble was only starting for Sushi, whose paranoia about her kids being taken away and placed in care led her to take drastic measures.
She sent him a picture of an urn, like she had urns and stuff she made, because I remember he threatened her and said he was going to the police. And she sent him pictures of an urn and a whole bunch of other stuff that tried to throw him off, to try to tell him she already took care of the situation.
And she told you that she was gonna, if she went down for this, she was gonna blame everything on Latez?
And she coached, I've heard her coach her children, telling them if they ever ask them something, say, scream and yell and say they want their mama, or don't tell them nothing, or blame it all on Tez. She even went, I don't know if you guys got copy of what happened when she went and divorced him, but that was her story to the judge as well. She hasn't heard or seen him. Supposedly he locked her in the house. This is what she told me. She told the judge in order to get her divorce from him, he locked her in the house around that time in December that it happened to her son.
Finally, Laterica backs up a sinister claim made earlier on by Latez.
And I overheard Serenity tell her mom, it's Anne Marie's fault, your son's dead, she did it. And then she was yelling, what did you say? Why would you say something like that? I said, what did she say? And she was like, I'm gonna call you back. The phone ended.
This is a sinister possibility that would never go on to be investigated. Laterica's interview reveals one important piece of insight. While attempting to conceal her son's body, Sushi was fully aware of the crime she was committing. To her, the possibility of losing her kids made her horrific actions far more bearable. By this point, the case is nearly closed, but there is one more key witness who's about to put the nail in the coffin. Sushi's hairdresser, Shatigri Trope, is interviewed by an officer on August 17, 2023. She has shocking information that all but confirms what investigators already know.
So in this particular conversation, this is the December 23rd of 2022 at 9:06.
Okay.
This particular day, I remember that day because she was like...
Do you have a picture of her face?
Yeah, I got a few of them. She came in, she said she needed a new start, fresh start, so she wanted to cut her hair off.
Okay, that's December 23rd at like 9 o'clock in the morning?
9:06. So she probably was here her appointment was at 9 that day. She had came in and I think she had, stressed how she was up the night before. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, girl, my friend, I can't even, she didn't say her friend name. She's like, my friend, she going through it real bad. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, she was going to the store. She said her friend from Chicago. She went to the store, and when she got home, when she walked in the house, her kids had shot her son. She said in the head. They had shot her son in the head. And I'm like, I'm behind her doing her hair, and she's like, they shot her son in the head, and the kids shot him in the head with a gun while she was gone to the store. And when she walked in the house, the baby was on the floor, obviously deceased, and she said that the friend had tried to do CPR on him, and he was obviously dead. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's a mess, girl. She don't know what to do. She came again December 26th, and we had to have had that conversation again. But at that appointment, she was going to visit her husband. If it wasn't that appointment, it might have been the January 5th appointment. It was one of those appointments. She was going to visit her husband in prison, whoever he is. I don't know who he is. Because she said she wanted to talk with her husband about taking her friend's kids, because her friend still hadn't called the police. Her friend was keeping the baby in his bed, is what she said, that the friend was keeping the baby in his bed. She wanted him to be peaceful. He was wrapped up in this, like in covers or blankets in his room.
Shatigri would only go on to find out the truth when the news of Zion's death came out.
So I didn't even see it on the news. I was driving. I'm trying to think, I might have been coming from out of town just recently. And I remember exactly where I was at. I was crossing the Centennial Bridge, and one of my clients called me. I didn't answer the phone. She sent me a text at 9:10 and said, girl, is that your client with the 10-year-old son in the garage? So I then called her, because I'm like, when she said it, I'm like, 10-year-old son. I'm trying to think of my clients. I'm like, oh, my son, a 10-year-old son, because it wasn't clicking. So when I called her, I'm like, what you talking about? And she was like, your client Sushi. And at this point, I'm like coming off of the Rock Island. You know how you come off to take the expressway. So I'm coming off. I'm right there at the light. I'm like, what about her? She's like, they found a 10-year-old boy in a garage, dead. So I said, what? And she said, her son. And she repeat, like screaming it in my ear. Matter of fact, she was on a vacation at that time. She was in Miami or somewhere. And I'm like, what? And I pulled over and I just started screaming. I promise you, I just started screaming. Toya, I couldn't grasp. I was literally like having a panic
attack. This can't be true.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Toya, I know. That's all I kept screaming was out. So I'm like, I gotta call you back. I called my sister.
For Sushi, the game is now up. Multiple witnesses have come forth with evidence of what she's done, and soon enough, her day in court comes beckoning. On February 16, 2024, Sushi Stalls pleads guilty to endangering the life of a child. She's sentenced to 2 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections and 6 months of mandatory supervised release.